Our next guest is over here. It's a top health and science journalist, a New York Times bestselling author. He's all about nutrition and that will make you feel like a genius. Are we ready for this?
Yes.
Please welcome Max Lugavere.
Yeah.
Hi, Max.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Max,
How
are you?
We're good.
I'm good now, man. Honestly, I'm a low-key fan. I watched you on Mind Pump. I watched that YouTube channel, so I've seen you before. It's a whole fitness thing. So I have to ask you, what motivated your passion for nutrition? Because you're all in, man.
I'm all in, yeah. I've dedicated my life really to unraveling the science behind how our choices, including what we eat and how we live, affect our cognitive and physical health. And it began for me when my mom, at a very young age, got sick. She developed a rare form of dementia called Lewy body dementia, which it feels akin to having both Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease at the same time.
Right.
It's an incurable progressive condition, and it was like an atom bomb going off in my world when my mom received that diagnosis. And it motivated me to understand to the best of my ability why a woman at such a young age, 58,
right,
would have developed this condition in the context of the standard American diet and lifestyle. And that began an investigation about 10 years ago that'll continue for the rest of my life.
Wow. Isn't this what Robin Williams, I think, what he was diagnosed with?
Max, I wanted to ask you, you just said it was incurable, excuse me. So why do you say dementia is preventable through your lifestyle?
Yeah, so dementia, all of the research funding goes towards Alzheimer's disease, which is the most common form of dementia. Today it affects a little bit over 15 million people in the United States. I'm sorry, 5 million people in the United States alone, 15 million people worldwide. And it's a condition that, like many chronic conditions, begins years, if not decades, before the presentation of symptoms. So by the time you show up to your neurologist with those earliest symptoms indicative of a form of dementia, chances are it's been simmering below the radar, under the surface for decades at this point. And that's why drugs to treat these conditions are minimally effective, if at all. In fact, Alzheimer's drug trials have a 99.6% fail rate. So for me, it's all about prevention. Prevention is really the new frontier when discussing these conditions. And in my view, it's really the way to move the needle on these conditions, because once you already have it, again, that's a condition that's set in over the span of decades.
It's like changing the lens. It's like, wait, let's go from the beginning instead of the end. Yeah, it's way more effective. What are some of the, stop it, that was smart, I think.
He didn't understand. Look at his face.
He didn't, Max, did you understand that? Instead of like, treating it, you prevent it.
Filmography.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
He had a saying.
Because a cure simply doesn't exist.
His made sense.
Yes.
His was much better. Okay.
Photography.
All right. What are some of the biggest misconceptions, though, in food? And I really was excited to talk to you about this.
Yeah, so I'm a big advocate. I think for people that are listening and watching, I think that there are 3 things that you can do every day that can significantly improve your odds. We don't have all the answers, but we certainly have some at this point. And I think, for one, it's avoiding or minimizing your consumption of added sugar. Added sugar is everywhere these days in the modern food environment. In fact, your average adult consumes 77 grams of added sugar. This is sugar for which we have no biological need. It's just pumped into our food from food manufacturers. And 77 grams on a daily basis, just to visualize that, that's almost 20 teaspoons of pure sugar. The second thing that I would say is to minimize your consumption of grain and seed oils like canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil. These are heavily marketed, high-margin cooking oils that are not good for our brain health. They easily oxidize, which is a source of inflammation in the brain. So you want to do your best to cut those out. Soybean oil, grapeseed oil, and use extra virgin olive oil as the primary oil. And then the third thing I would say is avoid refined grain products. They're everywhere today. In the aisles of our supermarkets, our supermarket aisles are lined with these refined grain products, which essentially metabolize straight into sugar almost as soon as they pass our lips.
Can we have an example of a refined grain product?
Is that like a cookie, like an Oreo?
Yeah, cookies, Oreos. I mean, unfortunately, they're just everywhere. Wheat snacks, corn snacks, rice snacks. An ear of corn is great. Eating corn on the cob in the summer, I know we're heading towards summer, great, perfectly healthy. But it's the refined products that are shelf-stable, packaged, ultra-processed foods.
I need to ask you a question, darling, because we're running out of time, and I need to know. You've got some pushback on social media for your views, but I need to know what has caused the biggest upset. What's really ground people's gears?
All the time. Well, I think the health at any size movement is a bit problematic. I'm all about seeing people at various stages in their fitness journey, but the notion that we glorify obesity as healthy, is not smart. You can be more or less healthy at a given size, but I think we have to come to terms with the fact that obesity is just not healthy. The bigger your waist size, the smaller your brain is what correlational studies seem to suggest. So it's a big problem.
Wow, that's interesting. You were nodding a lot, Jeff.
Yeah, because my waist is getting bigger.
And your brain's getting smaller. All right, Max, we have been reading Genius Kitchen, which has got over 100 delicious recipes for brain health. Brain health, guys, it's brilliant. So DBL Nation, make sure you pick up a copy and check out Max's podcast, The Genius Life. Max, you've been genius on here.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you. Really, and
We need
preventing.
him back. This needs to be regular because this
I
is a
agree.
good thing.
It affects our viewers. It
Love
really
it.
absolutely does. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Appreciate it, Max.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.